All right. Sorry, Facebook logged me out, but if you've been following very critically, we just had I just took you an introduction, and right now I want to now to try to do a sample video here. Okay, I'm trying to going to do for you a sample budget so you can basically know. And like I said, this can be on this can also be something that you can basically do on your PC. Okay, so it's very important. This can be something that you can basically do on your notebook or PC. Okay, yeah. So we have our revenues. Okay, we have our revenues, and then you can have, let's say, your revenue category right there, and then you can have your expenses, and this can be, for example, fixed, and this they can also be variable expenses. Okay, so myself, because I have a laptop, I usually use I usually use Excel. But like I said, this should not limit you, just in case you have, let's say, maybe you don't have a laptop, so you can use your notebook, okay? Or you can get a counter book that you can basically use to help you draw up this, okay? So I'll do something very simple here, and I'm going to just use one of the businesses, and maybe uh, let's say this is a cake business. Okay, and I'll just want to give you an how you basically draw up your budget. Cake business. Okay, so if that is basically your cake business, maybe this is sweet cakes. This is a cake business. Okay, now you could have cases where, for example, you have maybe in terms of revenues, you can have, let's say, cake sales. Okay, cake sales, maybe not disturb you, I can first ignore uh, uh, this. So cake sales, and maybe you can have your revenue categories. Okay, you can have your revenue categories. You can create this is not a mandatory line. Okay, if you're starting, basically, but you can have this in maybe this could be, for example, in terms of category, maybe this could be sales. Okay, this could be basically sales, and you can have maybe a description here, maybe uh, sales from cake business, from cakes, i.e. Maybe wedding cakes, birthday cakes. Okay, if you have maybe many of these, you can even create a breakdown of each of them. Okay, so you can have, let's say, this is what I budget to get from, let's say, wedding cakes. We can actually then distribute them. Okay, and then we can also have maybe something for birthday. We can actually distribute these, since it's a single business here. This could be birthday cakes. Okay, and then this could be let's say cakes from baby shower. Okay, okay, so like that. So these are sales. Okay, you could also have training. You could have training of cake making. Okay, and this could be under your category of training. Okay, and then you can basically add description. For now, we can even dwell with this. Okay, just to make it simplistic for you, especially if you're starting on this journey. Then you can put respective amounts in terms of what you expect to earn from here. Let's say maybe you expect to earn, let's say, could be depending on your business. You could you could expect to earn, let's say, maybe 20 million. Okay, yeah, 20 million. And then you could also have maybe expect to earn 10 million here. And then for baby shower, maybe this is low business, maybe 2 million. Okay, and then you could also have maybe a training on cake making. Maybe you expect a 5 million from this. Okay, like that. So that is what you basically do have when it comes to your budget. And then we can get down in terms of your expenses. Okay, now expenses, what we shall do, we shall start with fixed expenses. Okay, we shall start with fixed expenses. Shall start with fixed expenses. Fixed expenses. And we said, what I said about fixed expenses is that these are expenses that you incur on a monthly basis, either you're producing or not producing. Okay, and first of the fixed expenses, this could be things like rent. Your rent, remember, your rent is that expense you keep incurring. Is not determinant on how much or how many cakes you're making or whatever you're doing. So that's important. It could be, for example, it could be salaries. Maybe you have a fixed number of people that you pay an amount of money, salaries, including yourself, like we said. Okay, yours is that. One of the other things that you could also have when it comes to your fixed expenses, you could have maybe cleaning. Okay, you could have a cleaning expense. Maybe somebody comes and does cleaning of your place, so ideally that's amount of money that you give them. You could also have maybe you could have something in advertising. Okay, now advertising will be fixed. For example, if for example you have maybe could be a subscription for your caller tune. I know some people do have those caller tunes that they pay a given amount of money. Now, one of the things that you need to know, if you're drawing up your budget, and let's say this budget is, let's say, monthly. Okay, there are some expenses that you spend on an annual basis. So yours is to make sure that those expenses, okay, you get down into monthly by dividing by 12. Okay, so that is what exactly happens. Okay, if you, let's say, also maybe under advertising, you would also bring in the website cost as well. Okay, I know you pay an annual amount, but if you're doing your budgeting, make sure that you cascade that expense also on a monthly basis. So divide that amount by 12. Okay, so that's very important. And then yours is also to make sure that you including other, let's say, if you have you could have under advertising here, you could also have maybe Facebook ads. Maybe you have a fixed amount of money that you pay on a monthly basis on Facebook ads, etc. I don't want to bring in things like radio advert, and because I know if it's a small business, then you don't really do such kind of maybe advertising modes. Okay, yeah. So you could have that. Of course, some of you might have, depending on the business that you're doing, you could have maybe a fixed maybe water bill. Okay, but now for somebody who is, let's say, running a cake business here. Okay, you know that cakes are usually taken, they usually take a lot of water, so I wouldn't really think that somebody who is in a cake business would really use the same amount of money. So that is why you see it's very important that you try to reflect on some of these expenses based on how you run or based on how you've run in the past. Okay, like the way we saw right here, if I'm to get my total revenue, which is very important, if I'm to get my total revenue, remember all this that we are doing is budgeting. Okay, so if I'm to get my total revenue for all these that I have in terms of what I have budgeted, you're going to see what is going to happen. So I'm budgeting that I'll be able to earn over 37 million, okay, for the next 1 month. Okay. Now mine is to understand. Now, when it comes to the fixed expenses, these, like I said, these are not depending on any kind of, let's say, what quantities that I'm really budgeting for. Okay, and I know some of you might be watching this and you really have issues when it comes to numbers, but this should not really scare you. This is about your business and it's reflecting about your business. Okay, so for example, rent, let's assume this is maybe 1.2. Okay, maybe that is on a high note. Let me use 500,000. Okay, and this is basically, I'm using Uganda shillings, so just for you to know, maybe this could be 500,000. Maybe you could also have things like salary. Maybe your salaries are, let's say, cascade to, let's say, about 700,000. Okay, this is 700,000. Maybe you could also have cases of, let's say, cleaning. Maybe cleaning is just 100,000. Okay, and then you could have maybe on advertising after you've accumulated them. Maybe this gets to about maybe 300,000. Okay, and water bill, maybe you, from past experience, you always spend, let's say, could be 100,000. Okay, that is what you might be spending on the water bill and so on. You could also have cases of where maybe you also have electricity. Okay, now electricity, I know for somebody who is less in a cake business, you electricity comes in as it differs on a month basis based on what you're producing. Okay, but for matters of just for learning purposes, I'll include it here because I know for most of the business owners that could be maybe watching this, usually things like electricity could be fixed amounts. Ideally, these are amounts that on average you just set aside an amount and say this is what I spend, and on a monthly basis you also make sure that you actually this money to, let's say, to the person who is who the regulatory authority for this electricity. Okay, so let's say maybe this is about 80,000. Okay, like that. So once you have your fixed expenses, you can even get a total of these, put them in this column so you can be able to know. So this is all fixed in terms of category. I'll call this fixed. Okay, I'll call that fixed. Okay, so that is what I have in terms of my fixed expenses. And then I'll come to my variable expenses here. Okay, now under my variable expenses, mine is to look at what are some of those expenses that I'll need in order to serve the clients I've showed up here in terms of the wedding cakes, the birthday cakes, the baby shower, and then the training. Okay, so I can get down in terms of, let's say, variable expenses could include maybe the raw materials. Okay, I'll maybe just put a subheading here, and you can go on to list them. And raw materials here, you're trying to look at, let's say, the wheat flour. You could look at the wheat flour. You could look at maybe the margarine, okay, or blue band, whatever it is. You can go ahead to look at sugar. Okay, you can also break them down and plan, but you can also do a single line for them, okay, depending, but make sure that whatever is your raw material, include it there, and make sure that you also add the respective amount, okay? So that's important. So sugar, what else can you think about? Maybe packaging, okay? Packaging. Maybe this could be about, okay? So this is variable, category is variable, okay? And maybe this could be about, when you do all this, maybe this could give you about maybe about 20 million, okay, after adding all that you need, okay, to serve all those clientele, okay. And then you can get down to things like transport, because transport is also very important. This could also be variable, maybe because you're going to deliver to those respective customers and maybe project to spend about 2 million on this. We could also have cases where maybe we're going to spend also on apart from transport, apart from raw materials, you could have some direct labor, okay? People that you pay based on what you produce, okay? Maybe those guys that you call on to for when you have wedding cakes to support you, okay? Those could also be under this category, okay? Maybe you plan to pay them about maybe about 4 million, okay? Depending on what you're really planning, okay? So it's important for you. And then one of the things that you could also plan around maybe direct expenses other than the raw materials, transport, and labor. You could also have things like maybe what else can I think about? Yeah, you could have, I've already talked about packaging, okay? Packaging is very important, but maybe I could put it as a separate field here, okay? Packaging, and maybe packaging and branding, okay? Maybe you brand your products, maybe you put a label to them, okay? Maybe this could also be a variable, and maybe this could be about 3 million, okay, that you incur. It's about 3 million. So what this would mean is that if I try to get my overall expenses here, this gets me to 29, okay. So I can basically get my total expenses. I can get my total expenses by adding the 1.7, that which is fixed, and then add the variable, okay, to become 3780, okay. So that is what I basically do have. So once I do have my total expenses, and then I also have my total revenue, then I can be able to determine my profit, okay. I can be able to determine my profit, or my estimated loss or profit. Estimated profit. Of course, I use the word profit because we're in business. We are not here to basically make losses. We are here to make profit. So I'll get this amount, and let's go less what? Go less this amount. So mine is, I'm trying to get 6,220,000, okay? 6,220,000. And what this would mean is that this is what I estimate to get as my profits from this sale. So as you can see, if you're projecting, let's say, to make sales of worth 37 million, this might excite you, but once you get down to your expenses, you actually get to realize that your expenses are worth 30,780,000, and this would mean that your profit is getting down to 6,220,000, and this should open your eyes. If at all you thought that you're going to make over 20 million, I know some of you, because you've gotten good orders during a period, you get yourself to a point in time where you even want to plan to purchase land, because you think, I'm going to make over 37 million, so I should plan to at least buy some couple lot of 10 million. At the end of the day, when you get down to your budgeting, it will get down to give you a highlight. Okay. And I know when I speak about budgeting, I think some of you have done budgeting when for your weddings, for your parties, and you understand what this budgeting basically means. It gives you the reality of what is existing. Okay. So as you can see, once you have this, you can be able to now know that this is what I expect to earn. Now, in case you're not really happy about this figure, yours is now to come and increase on some of your revenues, or you reduce some of your expenses. For example, I may say that I want to at least get a profit of, let's say, 10 million. Okay. So I'll say that for my wedding cakes or my birthday cakes, I need to push and double this figure. So I'll come and, let's say, increase this by 20. So this will be like 47 million. Okay. So I'll be able to get, let's say, 16 million. So you can see that this is helping me drive me. So I know that if I've been getting 10 million from birthday cakes, main is to push this time to make sure that I'm getting actually more money that is coming from the cakes. Okay, from the birthday cakes. So the budgeting drives you. Okay, keeps driving you and keeps giving you direction on what exactly to do. So at the end of the day, I can do that. Or else, instead of increasing maybe 10 million here, like I've increased on the birthday cakes, I might, let's say is I'll look at my expenses. I see I'm spending a lot of this, but of course this I cannot adjust because I don't want to compromise on my quality. But I may say, on this direct labor, I think I may not need this much. Maybe I can reduce on this, and this is 2 million. So it means that your profit is now increasing to now what? To now 8 million. Okay. So there you able to, let's say, feel a bit more and say, maybe I'm progressing. Maybe you say, when it comes to maybe raw materials, in the same way, you may say, I'm going to try to look for cheaper raw materials. So this cannot be 20. And you say, maybe it's going to be 18. So you're already getting to your 10 million right there. So that is what the budget is basically doing for you. Okay. So this is a simplistic budget that can really help you for your business. One of the things that also I want to emphasize here is that once you're done with your budget, like I said, the other step is the budget monitoring. Once you're done with your budget, yours is to come and now start implementing your budget. Okay. And at the end of the day, you need to measure yourself in terms of how you're progressing against your budget. And if you're using an Excel like this, I'll add a column, like, let's say, a column called actuals. Okay. And also a column called variance. Okay. So that is what basically I'll basically do have. So once I add those respective columns, main is to make sure that okay, to make sure that I keep at the end of the month I keep an update here. So if I budgeted for wedding cakes, I budgeted for 10 million, and I've actually gotten let's say maybe 18 million. I'll come and put it there. Let me just try to put this. Okay. And for birthday cakes, in case maybe I actually made 5 million instead, I'll put it there. In case baby shower, I might have made 3 million instead. I'll put there. Then training, training others in cake making, maybe I might have gotten a 10 million. So I'll put it there. Let me just try. This is 10 million. Okay. Now, in the same way as I put what I've earned, I'm able to get the variance. What is my variance? Now, those variances help me in the next period. Okay. I'm able to know that, okay, here I budgeted for 20, here I've gotten 18. So my variance is 2 million. The next thing I'll do is, here I budgeted for 10, now I have 5 million. I'm able to get the respective differences. So as you can see, when it comes to cake, baby shower and training in cake business, I'm actually seeing a negative here. But as you can see, and why this is coming in is because I basically earned more. And now, for example, at this level, If it's revenue, I'm actually doing well here, okay? Because I budgeted 5 million, I now have 10 million. So I'm really doing well. Now, when it comes to expenses, maybe rent, since these are fixed expenses, in most cases, they will not really change when it comes to actual, okay? So the variances will be basically minimal here, but maybe under salaries, you might have increased salaries along the way, and this gets to, let's say, maybe 1 million, okay? This might get to, let's say, 1 million, and maybe the electricity went high because of the large quantity of what you're producing, and maybe it's get to 150, okay? So if you want to get your variances, if you subtract this minus this, you should be able to get the respective variances. So there was 0. When you get down here, so you can see this gives you negative 300, and this gives you a 50, okay? Now, as you get here, you able to see where you're doing well and where you're not doing well, okay? And that will open your eyes in terms of how you plan your next period of production, okay? So, for example, for variable expenses, maybe this might be about instead of 18, maybe we actually spent 21 million. And maybe for transport, maybe here we incurred 3 million, okay? And maybe this was about 4 million, and maybe this is 2 million, okay? Like that. So once I get, I can also get my total here, the total expenses, okay? Let me just try to get respective total here. If you've not used Excel before, you forgive me because I'm doing this very fast. But one of the things that you can do is I usually do this kind of work for business people. So if you have an Excel, we can come and sit down together and be able to do a template. I can actually also share with you this as well, okay? Just in case you're interested, and then that helps you, okay? So if I'm to get this, just a moment. This is a summation of this, okay? So if I'm trying to do, so I'm going to add my fixed plus variable to come to 32 million, okay? To come to 32 million, and I'll get down onto here. I want now to determine what is my profit like, okay? So my profit will definitely be what I earned as my total revenue. I've not yet added it, but I'll come and add it, minus my total expenses, okay? Here my total revenue, maybe just to add up this, is actually 36 million, okay? This is actually 36 million. So this gives me a profit, actual profit of 3,870,000, okay? So as you can see, your budget was 10 million, but you've actually gotten profit of 3,870,000. So this should open your eyes when you're planning for the next period to know, is this what I'm really, am I making progress with this business? Is this business really worth it? Okay. Best. Of course, you're getting a good profit. The 3,870,000 could be good for you depending on your size. Maybe it could also not be good for you. Now, if you have, let's say, for example, things like interest that you have in terms of loans, you may include it under your fixed expenses here. Also capture to get a picture of your overall profit. That is why I said every expense should basically be included when you're doing your budget, and make sure that as you include all your expenses, in the same way also your revenues should also be comprehensive. Put everything that, so I hope this is very helpful to you. And I want to say that I want to say thanks so much for all those that have followed, from the first video. In case you've not watched the first video, you may find the that video. Okay, in case you would love to maybe know about this, maybe you want support on your finances, or you want support on, let's say, your business. Okay, I would just want to share. I'm an accountant, and I help small businesses on their finances, accounting, taxes, and drawing up things like budgeting. We're able to go through together, and you're able to do something that really helps you. Okay, so I just want to basically maybe my number. Okay, you can basically take my number. Wanted to see if I can share this, but Facebook keeps on logging me out when I move to another window. But just to say that my number is 0703803803255. Okay, I can actually write it right here, cheat here for you. 0703803803255, or 078 360 2218. Okay, those are my phone numbers. In case there's anything that you need more clarification to from what we've just done.